a very special book. It's a book that I doubted to the nth degree. When Fredrik started publicizing, first full disclosure is that I work in New York City, real estate. I own a real estate company in New York City. I've been on the show twice, very briefly. I've met Fredrik, Luis, Ryan multiple times. They're great guys. Nothing against them. People like tear them up. Like within the industry, I'm like, no, you're just jealous that they have a show or they're successful. Like that's it. Like I love the guys. They're great. They have their personalities. The question I always get, yeah, the deals are real. How it goes down, probably a little fabricated a little bit, but that's nothing about the book. That's just about the show. So anyway, The Cell by Fredrik Eklund. I gotta say, I gave it to one of my agents, and she was reading it halfway through, or I don't know, maybe a little bit through. She's like, it's kind of about his childhood, and I didn't really... So I was like, oh, okay. So it just literally sat there for months, and I didn't do anything. I was like, you know what? Let me just try it out. It's going to be a quick read. It's probably about his life. I might be able to skip over some areas. Wow, was I wrong? I was not expecting this at all. Because of her opinion, a lot of people said, oh, he's just showboating, and he's just talking about how he's number one, he's a superstar, and things like that. Yeah, he talks about that, but he is. Like, there's a lot of people like, he should be more humble. You know what? That's what makes Fredrik. That's what made Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, like, people hated him or they loved him. And it's the same thing, I think, with Fredrik, is that, you know, I love the guy. I think the book, how it was written, him saying he was number one, him being confident, him saying I've always wanted to be number one, him talking about money and what he spends it on and how his haircuts are $250 every 2 weeks and he has a $28,000 watch. I love that. I think that's amazing. I'm glad he did, because the easy way out is to just say, oh, I am not a multimillionaire. I don't do hundreds of millions of dollars a sale per da-da-da. You know, that's the easy way out. It really is to go with society. However, so that's the writing style. That's really important because he talks about it a lot. He talks about money a lot. He talks about how he's number one and a superstar. And if people want to talk to him, who's a superstar, that want to work for him, this is the way to approach it. So that's the writing style. You have to get over that first of all. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm like, you're awesome. Thank you for being honest. I'm the same way. Who doesn't like nice things? He was talking about how he could travel anywhere in the world and go to Italy and buy anything Italian-wise, like fashion or shoes or whatever. So that's the writing style. Content-wise, I also wasn't expecting this. He dove a lot into pretty much every area of real estate, including negotiating, marketing, social media. He didn't trash, but he pretty much just said, if you're not on social media, if you're not building a big following, then you're screwed. So I'll go down chapter by chapter, not chapter by chapter, but essentially each chapter. So this is actually a really important chapter. The first chapter, which is Be You. You know, a lot of us, we hold back our personality only until we have a couple of cocktails, and then we come out, we're like, you know, or we're not ourselves until we're with our friends. But then when we're with other people, we're like, hello, how are you doing? Good, okay, da, da, da. And I'm not talking about acting like an idiot, okay? People like take what I say to the extreme. I'm talking about being yourself professionally if it needs to be, but still being yourself. In other words, Fredrik's talking about high kicking in front of J-Lo and Ben Affleck? I don't know. I don't pay attention to the tabloids. But that really hit me, is that you're right. It's like, we're not on this earth for that long. Be yourself. Embrace your awkwardness, your embarrassing moments, the funny parts of life, and really take it to the extreme. Be who you are in the core. And I really like that as the opening chapter. Know What Fuels You was chapter 2. This was incredible. It's kind of like Simon Sinek's Start With Why. For me, I already know what fuels me. People doubting me, self-doubt fuels me. When I doubt myself, or when other people doubt me, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove myself wrong, and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go be successful. I'm going to go start that company. I'm going to go approach that pretty girl, or whatever the case is. Oh, you can't do it. You can't start your own company in New York City. Well, you know what? Because you said that, and because other people said it's going to fail, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do it, and it's going to be successful. How about that? Chapter 3. So Simon Sinek talks about start with why. What is your core why? Your core why could be making money. Jerry Jones, that's what it is. He has a fear of failure, that he's going to go back to the dirt roads of how he grew up in Texas. That's his why. My why is self-doubt. Yours could be to impress your spouse, to impress your wife, to prove people wrong, to make money. Most bodybuilders, the reason they're short is because they're picked on younger. So they grow up and they're like, you know what, I'm going to get so big that and intimidating that no one's going to pick on me. So that's the same thing, is that you usually make up for something that you lacked when you were younger. Number 3, shadow a winner. Pretty straightforward. Number 4, dress the part. He actually took this to the extreme, which I really liked. Dressing the part. He was talking about how expensive, like I said, his watch was, his haircut, his suit, his tie, his shoes, his nails. Literally any area that you can dress the part, unlike how I'm dressing, I'm about to go for a run. Pretty much doing the opposite of what I'm doing right now. But in a business sense, is that dress nice. Get that nice tailored suit. And this is really important. I learned this really early, is that a nice tailored or a nicely tailored suit is better than an ill-fitting expensive suit. So a suit that's $200 from Macy's or wherever, $200 fitted to you, tailored to you, is better than a $10,000 Tom Ford. You have to get it tailored. That is the most important part. And get good shoes. Wear nice socks. That's what I do. I wear bright socks. And he talks about how he sometimes mismatches them, which is awesome. Train like a prize fighter. He goes over his day. And this was actually really inspiring, is him going over his day. It was incredible, actually, because how early he wakes up, which I wake up actually earlier than him consistently. I think he wakes up at 6:30. I wake up, or no, 5:30. I don't know. I think he wakes up at 5:30. I wake up at 5. And it's like, okay, that's great, Charles. That's me. You wake up at a certain time, but what do you do during that time? What are you doing during the time you're up? Clearly, Fredrik is using his time wisely. If your calendar is not packed full, he gets an anxiety, and that's sort of the same thing with me. But the thing is, he does something about it. I don't. So he talks a little bit about that. Make them smile, importance of your smile, expanding your reach, which is on social media. The perfect pitch. He sort of talks about pitching. Could be a little bit better. Make the sale. Pretty much the whole book. And it was really clever how he did it. It's everything combined makes the sale. It's not just one thing. Grant Cardone recently just talked about this. Grant Cardone is a sales guy. I recommend checking it out. He's not for everyone, but Grant Cardone talks about not one thing will ruin the sale. People are like, oh, I'm not dressed properly. He goes, not one thing will ruin the sale. A series of mishaps or obstacles that you haven't come, or objections that you haven't overcome, will make you ruin the sale. Fredrik is saying, you put all these things together, you'll make the sale. A good negotiator, dressing well, groomed well, good network, good social following. Make the sale. How to win friends and influence people to want to work with you. That's pretty important. So this is more on the managerial side. And then he said about press. I've kind of pushed away press. He said to embrace press, in other words, media, newspapers, online, things like that. Fail up. And then eat, pray, cash in. Cash in. It was actually a very humbling experience for me to understand how much wealth he has and the breadth of his companies. I loved it. A lot of people will not like his style of writing, on how abrasive he was on talking about how successful he is. So the book isn't for everyone. The book is not for everyone. Listen, if you are someone that looks up to someone that's successful and someone that doesn't mind talking about how successful they are, then this book is for you. If you're starting out in real estate, it's a quick read. You have to know the basics and the bare bones of real estate. To be honest, I think it's for someone, it doesn't have to be real estate, but it is for someone that has knowledge of real estate, because there's a lot of things he talks about, and you kind of don't want to do it because you don't have the money, because you're new in real estate. For me, I'm not new. I'm going on 7 years, so it's not new for me, but there are a lot of things that I'm like, wow, that's actually a good point, especially with the managerial things on bonuses and giving back to your employees and making it more fun. This is something that I need to take. Being more fun as a manager or as the owner, there's times that I'm very serious. And then the other is sleep. He talks about health and eating well and exercising a lot in the book, and I highly agree with that. And number 2 is sleep. Sleep is something that I put off. Like last night, I went to sleep. It's probably 6 something in the morning while I'm doing this, 6:45 in the morning while I'm doing this book review. And I put off, I have a bike ride soon, and I got like 6 hours of sleep last night. And it's like, that's not good, because if you consistently do that, you'll have that one really bad day, that one really I really want some sleep kind of day, and that could be an important day. So he takes his sleep very seriously. So those are the things that I got out. There's a slew of other things that I'm like, you know what, you're right, kind of deal that you forget about. Fredrik is clearly very successful, #1 in New York City as a broker. I think there's teams that are bigger. I think, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, definitely pick it up. It's an awesome read. Subscribe to these videos, follow me on Instagram, and obviously, if this is on Amazon, to hop over to my name, Charles Botenston, on YouTube, and obviously subscribe there. I'll talk to you guys soon.